They parked him over. They either swapped out some of the doors in the fucking, I don't know, fucking Times Square men's room where they do this fucking show, or they moved him further down the bench. So it gets taxed 90 cents. It's agreed. Thing of private. Trying to find the part where they jump into all this tariff shit. It was 131. Hold on. 131. Let's see if this is, because one of the things that this dude said, one of the guy, or it was 141, I think it was. Okay, so I think this is where they're talking about what their politics are.
Local level, I mean, I can't name every Democrat I voted on a local level. On local level, things have gotten much more nationalized with politics, even on a local level.
Yeah. Let's go to the next story. Go pull up the clip of Xi and Putin talking to each other. I'm curious to get his feedback.
Also, it's Xi. It's not Xi. It's not Z-H-I. It's X-I. Xi. Xi Jinping. It's not Xi Jinping. It's Xi Jinping. And it matters because there is a zh in the Chinese language.
If you have the video clip, it's on Twitter.
You can have a last name Z-H-I. And when people call him Xi Jinping, it just annoys the fuck out of me.
You can find it. It's all over the place when they're talking. But if you want to finish your thought, you can finish your thought while he's finding this video.
Sam, let me talk about
Sam, Sam, I just really found.
Oh, there you go. You found it? Okay, good. Make that bigger. So this is Xi and Putin talking. If you can go back so you can read what they're saying. Okay, there you go. Check the audio to see if we have the audio.
Change is coming that hasn't happened in 100
go
years.
For it.
Can you hear it? Change is coming that hasn't happened in
Press
100
play.
years. And we are driving that change together.
Это как раз сейчас перемены, которые не было в течение 100 лет. Там, где мы двигаем эти перемены.
An Asian guy speaking Russian. That's crazy.
Wait, who?
Why would he's the Russian translator for the Chinese premier?
Who is saying that?
That's his translator. That's Xi's telling Putin this, but his translator is.
Xi's telling Putin that change is coming?
No, Putin said that
Is it Putin who said it, or is it the...
No,
Yes, Putin is saying it's a change is coming and they haven't seen in 100 years. By the way, in 100 years, 100 years ago, he may very well be talking about the Russian-Sino war at this rate and the loss of territory that they want to get back.
The Asian guy.
Here's the other thing too. She leaves and Putin is left on the stoop waving at him, which is a bigger deal than the words they exchanged.
Is Xi's translator. He's translating in Russian.
Make the tweet smaller to find out who's saying this at this point.
Yeah, it sort of is important to know.
Very important. Yeah. Xi says it to Putin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Xi
says
tells
to Putin. Yeah,
Putin.
That's Xi, X-I. Fucking hell.
That's Xi's translator, which threw me off because I'm like, yo, that guy's.
By the way,
I mean, look,
can we watch Putin wave goodbye like a 16-year-old girl
Let me see,
is missing his boyfriend? Please watch this.
Hold on. Let me see. Bye.
He does it 4 more times.
Bye. I love you.
Watch
Bye.
this.
Bye.
And even as he drove off, he's like,
jog down the street.
Yeah.
It very clearly shows who's the boss in that relationship.
But
and it's Xi.
that's pretty scary though, Sam. Like to see these two guys, two of our biggest adversaries, coming together and doing.
Oh my God. This is all like Biden drove them together. Fucking hell.
Hey, it's going to be good from now on. It's kind of a scary, that's a scary ass moment, if you ask me.
I mean, I am really, I am really reluctant to get too engaged in wanting to have a conflict with China. I mean, this has been coming for a couple of decades. Back when I was doing radio, I interviewed Gary Hart, who sat on a commission right before 9/11 on the greatest threats to the United States in the 21st century. And they had a commission of about, 30, 40 people, had them lined up. What do you think is the '1 threat to the United States? Most of the people said non-state actor terrorists. Mm-hmm. That was pretty prescient. Some said state-supported terrorists. One person said China. Mm-hmm. This is in 1999 or 2000. And 3 months later, they meet again. Same thing happens. Everybody laughs at the person in China. Yeah. That person never came back onto the commission.
Wow.
It was Dick Cheney's wife.
Oh,
and I'm quite convinced that for a long time, the neoconservatives, primarily in the Republican Party, but some, I think, in, the Democratic Party, but primarily in the Republican Party, have been, worried about China. And it's all about economic dominance. And I think that,
Okay, sorry. This is not the party we're talking about, but I totally disagree. And you guys know why. I've covered this a bunch of times. They move on, I think, in this shorter part. Okay, hold on. This isn't the older one, is it? Fuck me, it is. It's the wrong clip. Hold on. Yeah, this was the easygoing one. Wait 1 second. I'll just scroll back to it. Annoying. Because everybody looks the same. All right, here we go. I'll bring the other one back out. Yeah, here we go. This is team with Sam Seder. This is about 2 into it.
Dominance.
I know that's the older one. Sorry, my bad. Back in, and then we go back to here, and it's this one.
Take advantage of me.
Okay, here we go. So this is them talking about this tariff shit. Okay, here we go. Trump announces Liberation Day tariffs. So this is the peanut butter dickhead crowd. Same point in the conversation, same time in the conversation. This is peanut butter dickhead at large. That's why there were fewer names on the thing, because this was earlier. He had him on 2 years ago, before they had everybody sign these fucking things, before he got like Mike Flynn's name and all these other criminals to sign these fucking safety deposit boxes like they're in a fucking bank. You could take that to the bank, and we're right here. So sure. But this is Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. Heated debate with Sam Seder.
Set to unleash Liberation Day tariffs. President Trump will unveil Liberation Day tariffs on Wednesday at 4 p.m.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
I'm going to
in the White House's Rose Garden, promising to stop America being ripped off and deliver a new golden age of U.S. industry. Though U.S. advisors left forth suggestions for some nations.
My fellow Americans, this is
the
day America wealthy.
President discussing how the tariffs will help eliminate income tax. Possibly.
From 1789 to 1913, we were, in fact, with the VAT problem. We don't have
we watched all this.
1913 for foreign countries, which to a very abrupt, it would have been gone far. The ramp system, a great job. And Italy is a country very wealthy.
Even if,
and I'm gonna come to you.
So, markets.
Oh, by the way, this guy kisses Trump's ass more than any other person on the show. I don't know what his name is, but he's all fucking in on this. And the other guys want to support Trump, but this guy is like, it's a lifetime commitment.
Of continuity, even if continuity is rooted in, trade inequality and things have been going on for decades.
Yep.
And to get through the shift, to get through the food poisoning, we can see markets react to sentiment, and markets don't know what to make of this. How many tariffs are going to stay for a day versus a week versus a month? You don't know. How many tariffs are going to shift?
First of all, if they only stay for a day, a week, or a month, they're meaningless. If we zero out tariffs both directions, there are onset economic impacts that go with that country's purchasing power as well.
Israel actually backed down and said, okay, we're done. Yesterday, correct? Israel went, hang on, we're good.
Really? Israel? Yeah. But, again, them dropping their trade barriers in exchange for what? Him unleashing the 2,000-pound bombs?
Backing off. We're done here. Interesting. Canada moved.
Why would that be interesting? It's shocking they have any at all. And it's because Trump will run interference for them if it doesn't benefit Netanyahu.
A couple of them, not the rest of them. Canada's still figuring it out, but they're blinking. Canada is blinking. So now the question is going to.
They're not blinking. They're not. And USMCA should have cleared all this shit up to start with.
Be how long does all this take? And the markets, the markets don't like it. The markets don't like the sentiment of uncertainty. And that's why you have Jim Cramer and other people. Oh, we're getting killed out here. You're getting killed because you like the status quo that you had a minute ago, because you knew how to play that game and you knew how those markets worked.
Can I just say also, on top of all this whole conversation, because there seems to be a myth that's going around with all of this, that somehow the national debt, our government's debt, that we have taken on because of the needs of our people during extraordinary times, which is bigger than everyone else's, because it's also our economy is bigger than everyone else's. And that makes sense in that context, that we have borrowed a lot of money to protect our citizens from 9/11, the 2008 crash, and COVID, and that the rolling effects of those things are rather large, have nothing to do with our trade deficit. Nothing at all. As a matter of fact, the quality of life of the average American is higher because of a trade deficit, because we could buy cheaper goods from overseas, that you don't have to be rich to afford IKEA-level furniture. And our debt is not the world's fault. But I will say, they are not factoring in the extensions of the U.S. economy that are all the other countries that use the dollar as their currency. And I don't mean just for petroleum and trade. I mean, like Turkey, that basically their entire economy is run on the U.S. dollar, or Argentina, that is on the dollar.
And respectfully, they're there to trade and make money in an increasing market. What is easier? It's easier to stay yesterday with what we've got, or there's a greater goal. And the greater goal is American jobs. And the jobs report was better than people thought. Interesting. That's not a headline. Why is that buried? And
gee, I don't know. You seem to buy all the job reports that happened under Biden until you didn't.
You've got the uncertainty of the markets. Now, the uncertainty of markets makes everybody look at their 401k and look at the things and be concerned. And yes, there's concern there. But you got to look down the street and see where we're going. And
what if your off ramp for retirement is closer than the sunny spot down the street? What if your road is right there and shit's hitting the fan, and it's kind of like, well, fuck you, bad time to be, I guess it sucks to be you, bad timing for your retirement.
It is not easy to get through the food poisoning, but there is life on the other side, and you can see that's what the president is talking.
No. You're assuming you'll survive the food poisoning.
About. And I think we got to trust it, and we got to look at what's going on. We can
also, what's the food poisoning? This is the idea that we've always had food poisoning because of the trade the way it is, or that food poisoning is what Trump gave everybody food poisoning so they would shit out all the bad trade.
We see little islands of change going on, so let's find out how everybody else moves on these tariffs.
Sam.
Right, and by that time it will be too late.
You said tariff was the last word. That was the only time you used the word tariffs. Look, I am in favor of tariffs when it is part of a specific agenda to build a certain industry or a certain industry within a certain region.
By the way, it should come as no shock that Sam says a lot of very sensible things.
This is absolute insanity. First off, they're going to use this as potential revenue. Like he says, it's not going to replace the income tax, but what they're going to do is they're going to use it as an excuse to cut taxes on wealthy people. You guys will be very excited about that. But who's going to pay that tax? If it's $600 billion a year, as they're saying, over a 10-year period, it's going to be $6 trillion. That is going to be an average of $5,000 tax on Americans. It is a regressive tax. I like taxation, but I like progressive taxation, because $5,000 for somebody making.
Oh, by the way, all of these assholes who view themselves as, as master capitalists on this panel think progressive taxation is the kind of taxation that progressives would want. Not the more you make, like proportionately you pay more taxes, and then poor people who don't make anything don't pay any at all. That's progressive tax. They think progressive taxes and progressive is the same. It's the same word. So they must, this is like commie taxes.
$40,000 is a much bigger problem than $5,000 for me or for you. And so this is a regressive tax on Americans. Now, if it's to work, to build up industry. And I don't know how we're going to have a banana industry in this country, or how we're going to have a lumber industry to rival Canada's, because we just don't have the wood, and so on. I mean, people get the idea. You know, there's certain industries you can actually say, this is one we're going to build up. Maybe there will be a low cost clothing business that revives in this country, but I doubt it. But
by the way, earlier in the conversation, I think they didn't know what the word textile meant.
if tariffs are meant to work to build up industry, that means people aren't paying those taxes. So the tariffs may not raise the money, but what will happen is, and I think you understand this too about pricing, if the price of goods goes up on average, and it looks like in some of these places it's going to go way above 10%. I mean, some of, like, you know, Vietnam, like 39%, China, 75%. They're adding all of these tariffs on. It's insane. Mm-hmm. Then U.S. companies, to the extent that there are ones that are making these same goods, they have between 0 and 75% to raise their prices. And they will, because, you know, like the price of this, there's a certain elasticity, and they can justify raising their prices 5% if their nearest competitor is, you know, 25% raise in price. I mean, they'll do it because, you know, there's some products that people just can't do without. So this is such a disaster. And of course, it also, what it also does is, last time we had
all this well said, by the way. Wait till you see their reaction, because it's really about how badly the PDB guys, the bros, want to polish this turd for Trump. They just want to follow him in the parade and use their lower jaw as a shovel.
Had a major financial crisis in this country in 2008. It took 6 years for the stock market to get back at parity. You're talking about the, you know, 401ks have been a disaster insofar as, like, people just don't put as much money in them as they should because they don't have the money on a regular basis. But God help those people if there wasn't Social Security, a robust Social Security, because if you've got to retire and you're 65 and you were planning on retiring, you have a small 401k, it is screwed. And it may not come back for years. Maybe it'll come back tomorrow. But
how do you feel about reciprocal tariffs?
Here's the other absolute insanity. Those tariffs that he claimed on that chart are not tariffs. Every economist out there has been saying, where did he get these numbers? And they're starting to figure out that they did some weird.
Yeah.
There's countries on there that don't even have people in them. It's bizarre.
Oh, by the way, this is a meme that's been happening all day. Everybody knew this. Watch these guys' reaction when Sam says there's people without countries. And you'll see how desperate they are to protect Trump.
They took, like, the CIA fact book and just made a list of countries. I mean, it's completely for show.
Which countries?
There's Google it. There's like 1 or 2 places.
This guy gets so, like, verklempt.
There's no people.
Every single one of those countries.
No. They released a big release. He'll find it. And these are not actual tariffs that are being applied to us.
Every single one of these countries.
There is India. Are we sure there's people there?
China, the EU, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan,
Do it
India.
on
Oh, good. And I this is why if I ever go on this asshole's show, which will probably never happen, is because he's a clout fucker and I don't have enough subscribers. You should subscribe if you want me to come onto this show and give him what for. That said, some countries, tariff, no population, I don't know. Yeah. This, I mean, we've been seeing this shit all fucking day. Let's see. There you go. Hold on. Think they do it. Yeah, here you go. Trump slaps tariffs on remote islands with no humans, but a thriving penguin population. Like, this was everywhere fucking today. Like, at least be ready for the memes.
No,
South
just
Korea,
Google.
Thailand, Switzerland, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Which of those countries aren't there not people living?
Put in the Trump just added a tariff on a country with no.
All right, but okay, so he added one country that maybe
it's just an
underwater.
indication of how slapdash this is.
No, dude,
but these are not tariffs. These are not
on one
those reciprocal tariffs. They're not. Those aren't tariffs. He is basically what they've tried to figure out is, like, where'd they get these numbers from, and they have taken the trade deficit and divided it by what we send there. And that's the way that they've assumed that that's a tariff. It's basically, they're just saying we have these trade deficits. And of course we have trade deficits with certain places, because there's some products that we're just never going to make. And there's some places that don't have the
and also we're the biggest buyer in the world. Yeah,
buying
Herd
power
Island
that we have.
Right.
I mean, so this is just bizarre. And even, like, former Trump trade people were just like, well, maybe it's just an opening salvo for a negotiation. And maybe it is. I mean, you know, like I'm just fortunate that I'm not planning on retiring soon and my 401k isn't decimated. But this is going to cause inflation and these prices are not going to come down. I mean, Trump is trying to tell U.S. automakers, don't raise your prices. And if he wants to impose price controls, he would not be the first Republican president to do this. Nixon was the first president and the only president, as far as I know, to do price controls, at least in the modern era. I'm not necessarily against price controls in certain situations, but this is like such an own goal. It's fascinating.
Also, by the way,
Of course.
Carter did some price controls at one point, and at some point, one of them thinks that Carter was president before Nixon.
No, Jimmy
You're not
Carter's
against
wage and
price
price controls were
controls,
decades before Nixon. Whoops, checking my notes.
Sorry?
Of course.
No, Jimmy
you're not
Carter's
against
wage and price controls were
that's-
decades before Nixon. Whoops, checking.
Jimmy Carter's price controls were decades before Nixon. Carter wasn't even years after Nixon. He wasn't even a decade. He wasn't half a decade after Nixon.
Of course.
No, Jimmy
you're not
Carter's
against
wage and price controls were
that's-
decades before Nixon. Whoops, checking my notes. No, he was after.
Right.
It wasn't just Nixon.
Well, Nixon
It was
started
Carter.
it, right?
And there was no other president since
Nixon started it.
I was just kind of correcting that.
Okay.
I was just correcting the fact that Carter was decades before Nixon.
Back to your
I'm
rant.
for price controls.
You are for price controls.
Well, I think
Well,
we
that's
should have
very
we should have
socialist agenda.
applied some in the wake of COVID. Yes, there was a lot of gouging going on. I think that everybody knows that.
I think it's.
I mean, there's plenty of data that at least 40% of the inflation.
But and look at the look on that other guy's face. I wish they have a lot of Sam on here because they're trying to. It's clickbait anger shit for their regular viewers. But every time they cut to that other dude, the one who's like the most angry about the Epstein shit and all that, he's so fucking wound up about this because he knows they're gonna hit
It
a
was a
fucking
function
wall.
of gouging in some form or another.
Well, Sam, number one, respect for you for being here. I don't think, like, genuinely, whether you're a progressive or democratic socialist or skew socialist, you're talking to a bunch of capitalists and an angry patriot.
Also, not capitalists, not at all. You can't call yourself a capitalist if you support Elon Musk and his entirely government-backed war chest. You're not capitalists. Fuck off. You maybe crony capitalists, but you don't get to knock off the adjective.
That's cool. Like, we're not going to change your mind. You're probably not going to change our mind. But what we're solving for is the truth. The reality. Yeah.
You're solving for the truth that Carter was decades before Nixon, and tariffs aren't taxes.
Is these reciprocal tariffs, what Pat asked you about. Are you familiar with the golden rule?
Oh, dear. Okay, this is why I wanted to play this. And you guys know, fuck me, you know this is what I'm going to get wound up. The golden rule. Now, just to be clear, in terms of the golden rule.
The golden rule. He who has the goal makes the rule.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's the most selfish phrase on magnanimity that has ever existed. But let's hear this dipshit's interpretation of what Jesus Christ was saying.
Do unto others as you want to do unto them. Is that
Bingo. Do you abide by the...
No, Sam, no. No, you don't do unto others as you want to do unto them. That's not the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Sam fucks it up, and then this guy goes bingo. So I don't know why they're on the same
golden rule.
I mean, in my personal relationships, yes.
There you go. So the golden rule is you want to do something to me, I'm going to do it to you. If you treat me.
No, it isn't. No, that is the exact opposite of the golden rule, you asshole. The golden rule doesn't have anything to do with the other person's behavior. That's why it's a moral buoy. That's why it raises the content of the interaction and raises the quality of the interaction. Because I don't care if you're a piece of shit. I'm going to treat you like I would like to be treated. It is a very namaste kind of thing to do. The God in me salutes the God in you. The standard I would like to have you talk to me, and that's how I'm going to discuss you. I don't want to be treated like shit. I'm not going to treat you like shit. This is the exact fucking opposite. And again, these are the Darwinists. These aren't the Christians of the conservative right. Peanut butter dickhead calls himself an independent, even though he's voted for Trump every single time and would never vote for a Democrat and always votes Republican. So basically what you're saying is you lie on your voter registration every fucking year.
Fairly, I'll treat you fairly. If you're
No, it doesn't mean if you treat me fairly, I'll treat you fairly. The golden rule is I'm going to treat you fairly, whether you treat me fairly or not. I'll turn the other cheek, when I'm done hitting you. Jesus Christ.
good with me, I'll be good with you. But
What
if you want
constitutes fair?
hold on.
No. Again, it is literally the opposite. Like every time this asshole describes it, it just drives me fucking crazy. Like it's so base. It's such a simple concept. And the way he's describing it is like just childish. I know you are, but what am I? Like,
If you want to actually take advantage of me, then all of a sudden we might have to have a economic war. And that's
no, that's not the golden rule at all. That's just base warfare, human interaction. That's how bar fights start.
what's happening. So if you show up that list, I know you want to focus on the one random country that you can't name. Hold on.
Tell us how England is taking advantage of us.
Well, England is part of the UK. We understand that. But if you want...
Oh, that's why. Yeah. A United Kingdom, that's automatically.
Well, how is the UK?
Well, they're borrowing the word united.
Hey,
Sam,
taking
hold on.
advantage.
When people talk, you listen. And then when you talk...
Yeah, he wants to be interrupted. That's why he's interrupting you.
I listen. That's how conversations go. You know that.
I'm just asking you to clarify your
I'm going to get there. So the way that these tariffs work is if they're doing something to us, we'll do something to them. Rob, show the picture. So I would love to hear what you think. So all these countries have people living in them. All these countries, these, China, the EU, that's part of, all those countries over there. You got the UK over there, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, India. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people living in India, South Korea, Thailand. All these countries are charging us. So the reality is, if you go through the numbers, not feeling Sam,
there's a whole list.
Sam, I need you to pay attention. I'm on the phone.
Charging us. I got it.
Here we go now.
The whole list.
They're charging us way more
90% of Vietnam
to access their markets than we are charging them.
That is not.
Yeah, those aren't their actual tariffs.
That's the whole
Sam,
point.
stop
Those
it.
are not tariffs.
Stop it. You're gonna have to bring.
Rob, do me a favor.
So we're charging on average 2.5%. The EU is charging on average 20%. Japan is 24%. China 34%. Taiwan 32%.
No, they aren't. And this guy actually thinks that. This is the problem. This motherfucker is never going to look past this. Like, this guy thinks that if I charge you 2.5% on every unit and you buy 10 units, I'm charging you 25% on every unit.
Vietnam 46%. These is what the numbers are. Now, if you have different numbers, I'd love to see them. But the reality is, some of these countries are our friends, and some of these countries are our foes. And as Trump says, if you want to listen to what Trump says, in many cases, many of our friends are a lot worse. He cited Australia won't even let us sell U.S. beef. So
because of mad cow disease.
All these situations are actual numbers. He talks about the golden rule. Trump, there's a similarity there. Okay,
he went back to it.
Golden age of America is what he's talking about.
I see. So the golden rule and we became the golden age of America because we treated other people like we perceived they were treating us. Not how they were treating us, but how we perceived they were. So the fuck your feelings crowd literally wants a feelings economy.
Because this is a way to bring down our deficits, to reduce taxes. I would love to hear if you had a better idea.
To bring down our deficits,
these are trade deficits.
Okay.
So we have a trade deficit with Canada of $200 billion a year.
Of course we do. We're gigantic, and they aren't.
They charge us, in many cases, 200 to 300% for dairy. Okay, Mexico is an example.
No, they do not. No, you're absolutely 100% wrong on the dairy. No. Your dairy thing is absolutely wrong.
You think this is my dairy thing?
Yes, this is not.
Trump said in his speech.
Yes, Trump lied.
There is not a single pint of
Just
milk
like you lied
of dairy
about
that goes.
how many countries don't have people. Pretty sure India's got a couple of people.
That dairy goes to Canada. We don't. If we sell a certain threshold, tariffs are applied, but we don't reach that threshold ever. There are not a dollar
because it's too damn expensive to access the marketplace.
No.
Anyway, I'm talking about the sweeping.
Again, he knows nothing about this. This guy, and that was my point. I wanted to show you guys that little piece because the golden rule part, like, just sums up how fucking thick those guys are. PBD, I hope you and the other chuckle nuts on there see this. I hope someone shares this clipped video with you. I hope you watch it. And I hope you watch every time I put your show on, because it's a recurring theme that you guys talk out of your ass, and it's not polite to talk with your mouth full when it's up your ass. You guys are singularly, as a group, the most diluted, non-blaze podcast that exists. It is fucking stunning to me how, like, it should just be the Dunning-Kruger podcast. Like, this is a bunch of guys who are totally convinced they are better than everyone else. All the elite shit you hear from the right, all the, we don't need to listen to experts. We don't need to listen to the elites. The elites are controlling us and all that kind of stuff. Every one of these motherfuckers thinks they are elite amongst mankind. PBD and his whole fucking crew. And yet, every single time they make these dumb, repetitive, like, blathering mistakes, and I'm being generous here, in their desperate attempt to cover for Trump. It's pathetic. And the one thing that, like, that dude who was getting, like, all pissy with Sam is the same guy who was like, I can't figure out why the Trump administration would be reticent to release the Epstein files. It makes no fucking sense, except for Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 fucking years. And would it have taken you that long to figure out he's a pedophile? And if it would have, why would you show your face in public? Wouldn't you be too embarrassed to be on the fucking internet if you're saying, yeah, I would have been friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years. I never would have fucking spotted it, even after he was arrested for solicitation of a minor, even after he brought underage girls on my fucking airplane. Even after, when I rode on his plane, there were teenage girls he was not related to wandering around. If it would have taken you more than 25 fucking years to figure out that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile, then congratulations. You're one of the few people on earth that's thicker than Trump. But these guys would all think that I have Trump derangement syndrome because I point out that Trump Steaks, Trump University, Trump Water, Trump Vodka, Trump Airlines, Trump Football all ate shit and sucked, that The Celebrity Apprentice was a comedy show because it was an absurd concept that people who were successful in the industry as actors, as musicians, and as fucking jugglers and magicians would take fucking advice from a failed businessman with piss-colored cotton candy hair and an office so shitty they had to recreate a fake one because they couldn't do it from his real office because it smelled and nobody wanted to go there. I don't even need that, though. I don't even need the fact that he's a fucking failure and you shouldn't let him. You should take that and go, no wonder. I will judge his tariff ideas on the same plane as Trump steaks, Trump University, Trump airplane, Trump fucking football, I don't know, Trump fucking his Truth Social network. All bad. But I don't even need that. I don't even need to do that. You know why? Because the fact that this motherfucker was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years and it was a fucking shock to him, or he won't even admit to it. We've never seen him admit that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile in any form, and he won't in an interview. Like asking Trump if Epstein was a pedophile is like asking him if Putin's a killer. Like he'd go, well, we're all kind of pedophiles, aren't we? Like that would be his fucking response. I don't need another reason to hate that motherfucker. That's enough. And so the idea that I owe him some level of charity in my assumption that he knows what the fuck he's doing, if you want me to trust him with the entire economy, why would I trust the entire economy to someone who allegedly couldn't figure out Jeffrey Epstein was a fucking pedophile under those conditions for a quarter century? Now, I think he's lying, and I think he absolutely knew, and he didn't give a shit because Jeffrey Epstein would like break girls in, and then when they turned 18, Trump would, you know, do business with Jeffrey. And once they were over the age of 18, he felt like he was covered, and it didn't matter. Put him in an apartment, have a little tryst thing, have a little Matt Gaetz kind of arrangement. Yeah, he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well when she went to jail for procreating local teenagers. Fuck off. So, if he knew Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and didn't do anything about it, why would I trust him with the economy? If he's so fucking stupid that he couldn't see that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile for a quarter century after they partied together exclusively, why would I let him be in charge? Why would I trust him with the economy? You think he's just like he's like Rain Man with the economy, but he has, you know, he's got all these, maybe Hitler on the weekends, but during the week, he's all deacon of the church. So the fact that this dude can't put it together, that those wires don't touch for some reason, means that he is so dedicated to sucking off Trump's truth pipe that he will blind himself to the worst types of human behavior. And so, of course, of course he's got misfiring synapses where he can't figure out what the golden rule is, or he doesn't understand that the big list Trump put up didn't include the countries that don't have any people in them, because he put a tariff on all countries blindly. That was the point, including ones that are parts of the Antarctic. The PBD guys are as thick as a whale omelet, and they will do everything they can to not be seen as the gullible dickheads they are. And it is a common illness on the right. It is brutally incurable. And I got to say, like, their boost, PBD dickhead and all of his guys, that show got a jump start at some point, like picked up speed right about the same time the whole tenant media shit started. So I would be curious to see if they had any investors that helped them kind of build their set and build out the show and start turning it into a real production. Now they got a lot of subscribers, So they may not need it. But that doesn't mean they won't take it. So that's it. I'll let you guys go. I know I kept you a little late tonight. I appreciate you hanging around. But it is the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. What are you going to do? And I want to thank the trolls and maggots who came by today. It was adorable. I loved watching you guys swing your little arms as I have my hand on your forehead. It's precious. And I hope the fact that you don't upset me doesn't upset you too much. Because I genuinely, we kind of need you to expand us into the algorithm. You know, that crazy little computer thing that guarantees that Trump's not going to be able to get China to sell TikTok because he's stupid. Meanwhile, next, Rob Glenn's going to be on with me tomorrow, and with a special guest appearance by Elon Musk, I have no doubt.
Oh, hello there!
And I think we're going to take a look at his new invention.
The Illudium Q36 explosive space modulator.
Yes, here he is, super genius. That said, hold on. Hit the like. Please subscribe if you can. It doesn't cost you anything. On all the channels you see. Just do it across the board. You can subscribe to my Substack as well for free. I know there's a paid tier, but I don't really use it because again, this is all about getting the content out. This is all about reaching as many people and helping them have, like, you know, when you're in an argument about this shit and you wish you had like the facts and you wish you had something to say to this particular point, and I hopefully I'm delivering some of that to you, right? So that you just have I just a little Hal walking around your hanging out in your back pocket in case you need to whip it out at any time, and that's what I'll continue to be here for. So if you can't support the show, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. And that's why I don't put anything behind a paywall. I don't have a members only version of the show. I don't have a subscribers only version of my chats anywhere. People on Twitch will tell you this. I do not set it on that, you know, and I'm not going to. That is my commitment. So I appreciate you guys. Take care. And like I said, if you can support the show, do it. But if you can't and it makes you nervous because of the economic shit that's happening, I completely understand. Please don't. Just keep watching and enjoy yourself and don't sweat it at all. Someday in the future, when this storm too shall pass, you can buy me a cup of coffee someplace and we'll have a nice chat and we'll laugh and we'll laugh and we'll laugh at Trump's weirdly shaped tombstone. Because, you know, they're going to have 24-hour guards on that thing forever. Not going to be good. You know how people go to Jim Morrison's gravesite and they pour like bourbon or like lick joints at it or something like that? I'm assuming there'll be a raw sewage version of that for Trump when he, of natural causes, shuffles off this mortal coil and all the extraneous skin that was left behind after his Ozempic overdose. And he'll have a urinal-shaped tombstone. He might be the first. Always clogged. And it'll be just off the first hole of a shitty golf course someplace. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Hit that like, everybody. Come on. All right, did we stay up on Substack at least for the rest of the show? Damn, we did. Good. Thank you, guys. Hitting those hearts. Thank you so much, Substack.